A suicide bomber has detonated explosives very close to the heavily barricaded NATO headquarters in the Afghan capital, Kabul. At least 6 people are killed. NATO official says the bomber blew himself up very close to the entrance of the base.
The bomber blew up his explosives-laden motorcycle near the entrance of Camp Eggers, a sprawling base that's home to some 2,500 coalition staff. The attack coincides with celebrations by supporters of an anti-Taliban warlord who was murdered 11 years ago tomorrow. Ahmad Shah Massoud was killed in a suicide bombing by al-Qaeda activists posing as journalists.
The sound resonated around us here. I must admit, initially it sounded like a missile, and the initial report said it was. We've since heard from the local police that it was in fact a suicide bomber, and that between as many as certainly 4 people have been killed, though we have heard reports that the numbers are higher, maybe as many as 6. Initial reports from the scene said a number of children were hurt in that blast. Now, it's obviously been cordoned off in that entire area while the investigation gets underway. What we do know is that there has been an alert for a number of suicide bombers in the vicinity of Kabul, as many as between 7 and 10 we were told, and that I understand 3 were arrested yesterday or the day before. We have these alerts fairly regularly in Kabul, but the feeling is that the city is due for a major attack of some description from the Taliban. It's been, I think, since May was the last major attack by them, and there is this sense here of potential more suicide attacks. We've been told by the staff at the hotel here that there is now a very high security alert that has been passed on to them.
The Taliban quickly claiming responsibility for this, and the Interior Ministry telling us that the suicide bomber was actually a child, aged perhaps between 10 to 12 years old. The explosion happened, as you say, outside the Italian embassy, which is just across the street from NATO's ISAF headquarters. It's not a public thoroughfare. You have to go through a couple of barriers which are at least about 500 meters away before you even get close to the Italian embassy. The whole area's closed off. It's where there are most of the embassies in Afghanistan. And so not a very busy area. There are a lot of child hawkers there selling stuff to NATO personnel, NATO staff who are coming and going between the various buildings there. So not a particularly busy area, but we're told 6 people dead and 5 injured.